Hello, I'm Don Emmett with Entrust Associates. I'm sitting here today with Pete Smith of Raleigh Precision Products. And Pete, thank you for inviting us in. Let us sit down and have a nice tour of your facility.
It's my pleasure.
Could you tell us a little bit about Raleigh Precision Products?
Well, I started Raleigh Precision Products in 1985, I think, out of the back room of my house in Raleigh, and we started molding plastic products the following year, mainly molding for a company that I was working for part-time to start with, and then we have grown from a facility that we shared with an electronics company to where we bought our own building and then expanded that one, and then we moved from Bailey to Kenley in 2007. So we expanded our business each year, yes, but about every 5 years we've had to expand the facility. So, and we're about at that point right now. We're, as you saw from the tour, we're in need of more floor space.
So plastics, which is a classic line from the movie The Graduate. How did you come in to get into plastics?
Well, I got into it. What I thought was, unfortunately at the time, I got into it when I got out of college and worked for a American optical company, and got into their plastics business because they were expanding rapidly and needed some help. And I had the engineering background to help out with some of it, but it was a totally new experience for me in an area that I was not terribly enamored with. Plastics really didn't have a great reputation in the 60s as being a good product. So I soon learned that it was a fascinating field, and properly chosen, the materials were good for the applications, and I've been with it ever since.
So starting your business in 85-ish and going at it out of your garage like many entrepreneurs, when did you get a sense that I guess what started as a part-time or a hobby was going to be successful, was going to be you're going to be able to sustain yourself and make a living?
Well, I don't know that point ever arrived. It sort of developed, I guess, over a period of time. I can remember one vacation period where we shut down in July for a week's vacation. Didn't have an order in the house. Didn't know that there were any orders coming, and I wasn't sure I was going to be in business by the end of that month. But when I got back that Monday morning, we got a call from somebody we've been talking with, and they moved some equipment into our place, and so by the end of that week we were busy, and have been ever since.
Right.
So it was an interesting growth experience. To my knowledge and my recollection, we've only ever had 1 year where we were down in sales over the prior year, maybe two, but never down by more than a couple percent. So the last 5 years we've grown at 20% or better every year, except for one, which we grew at 5%. So we've been growing pretty well in the last few years.
It's a pretty remarkable achievement, given the challenging financial crisis that we went through in 08, 09, and you were able to persevere and continue your growth strategy.
Well, I'd love to say it's all skill, but there's an awful lot of luck involved, I have to say. We moved into this building right at the beginning of the downturn. And wasn't sure that was such a smart move when we first moved in, but fortunately we had the room and we had the equipment that was available, so we were able to pick up some business that has been with us ever since, and we've grown it.
So what are your strategy or vehicles for acquiring new customers or retaining the customers that you developed over the years?
We try to give our customers the best possible value for what they're paying for. We don't try to be the most expensive molder on the block, nor do we try to be the cheapest molder on the block, but we do think that our prices are hard to beat, and we give good quality for the product. We're not ISO, and nor do I think we need to be, nor do I want to be necessarily. We'd like to think we have quality that is near ISO standards, but I'm not sure that we need to pay the money to have that rating.
That's interesting. In my former life in electronic component distribution, that was virtually a requirement, although we weren't a manufacturer. As a distributor, it was much easier complying, but it was still an endeavor to get that certificate. And but many of our clients
Yeah.
required it. You're able to.
Well, if you're automotive or you're military, you probably require it. If you're a consumer product, I don't think you necessarily do require it. And there's a lot of customers that don't require it, don't need it.
You're in an industry that I think most people would consider that's an overseas product. That's people aren't doing injection molding in the U.S. Is that a fallacy, or are you able to operate in such a way that you can be profitable in this?
We've been fortunate in being able to grow throughout this whole time period. In the early 2000s, we did look around to see if we couldn't become an OEM manufacturer of some sort, because we were looking at our customer base disappearing overseas. So we did develop a proprietary line of filtration product, and that has served us very well over the past probably 10 years. It's a pretty good business in itself. So we have, really the company is two businesses. One, we're a custom molder, and so we'll mold product for most anyone, and we also have our proprietary line of commercial and industrial filter components that we supply to the filter manufacturers, people like Airflow or Flanders or American Air or Purelator. Those are some of our customers that we supply the filtration component parts to. Some of those parts are parts that we've designed, and some are parts that they've designed, and it's their tooling. So we have a combination.
What would you say would be the pros and cons of being a manufacturer here in the greater Triangle area?
I think the area I think it's a good area to be in business in. I don't think it's not like being in the Northeast where you have so much traffic to get from one place to another. I think you can get from place to place without a great deal of time, even though the mileage might be greater. It's a good location. We're in a great location right on I-95, so we've got good distribution up and down the East Coast. There is a lot of industry here looking for plastic parts supply, and we're fortunate to be able to take advantage of some of that.
And do you see any downsides of being in the Triangle?
I don't see downsides of being in the Triangle. No, I mean, North Carolina's a pretty good state to be in. We have our issues with trying to meet federal guidelines and federal issues that are being put in our way constantly. The rules and regulations keep going up. We recently got this is not a federal guideline, but they're a federal problem. But we just got a $31,000 bill from our favorite electric company for a deposit, which we see no reason to have. We've been doing business with them for 25 years, and so far as I know, we've never been late on a bill, but they seem to think that they need a deposit of $31,000 from us.
Oh my goodness.
I have not, and of course I can't get through to them to find out what's going on. They're impossible to reach at the numbers they provide. So I don't know where we're going with that.
Having viewed your facility, and it's quite an impressive one, and telling me about your running 3 shifts and some of your machines running 24/7, I believe your utility bill is a significant part of your cost.
It sure is. When we moved into this building, I got a shock the first month we were here. I had a $5,000 utility bill, and we hadn't even been in the building. That was just when we were doing the installation.
The tile.
Yeah, that's all. Which was about as big as our bill was before we moved over here. So it was a shock.
And running, how many people do you employ here at
We,
RPP?
we have, let me put it this way, we have under 50 full-time employees, but we have a number of part-time employees over that. I don't know the exact number, but and it varies from time to time depending upon our workload. Some of our work is pretty well automated, and some of it is requires a certain amount of hand labor. So if we're doing a lot of assemblies, then we'll be up on our temporaries.
What are your, in terms of staffing those 3 shifts, and what are your biggest challenges in finding qualified and quality people and retaining them?
It's tough. I think there is a dearth of manufacturing expertise throughout the industry, not just in plastics, I think. But we looked for over 2 years to find a qualified maintenance person to take care of our equipment on the floor. For a couple of years, we had to bring in a factory rep from Illinois once or twice a month, and that was expensive, but that was the only way we could get service. We've fortunately been able to find somebody now who's on staff and doing a great job for us. But that same thing goes throughout the industry, I think. Plastic technicians, people who set up the molding machines, they're qualified personnel are very hard to find. And I think that all stems back to the era from the late 90s through the early 2000s when manufacturing disappeared and people who were doing that job I found other work in other areas, and I don't know that they want to come back, I think. And obviously some have retired, and so there's just not enough to go around as we build back. It's going to be our biggest challenge in trying to bring work back from offshore.
Do you see the North Carolina, there's been a lot in the paper about the North Carolina school system and what was a strong commitment to education, and our teachers falling to 46th in the nation in terms of compensation. Do you see people coming out of high school or with sufficient skills and or talents to take a manufacturing job in your firm?
Well, first off, I think what the legislature did in that area was absolutely insane. They really need to be supporting the education facility in the state, and we really need to be paying teachers a decent wage. Now, I do agree that we need to get rid of the deadwood in the teaching. I have a daughter who teaches, and I know some of the tales that she tells of the teachers who just are not up to par, and they just get shuffled from one school to another, and they need to go. But we need to be supporting the teachers who are good. We need to be reinforcing them and keeping them on board, and what we're doing right now is not there. So answering that question is not the question you asked.
But that's okay.
We do have we have some difficulties with math in particular, because some of the things we do require a little bit of math, and that's not always the most accurate thing we get. So we could use some more help there for sure.
What would you consider your critical success factors in your business?
Well, I think we are unusually good at solving problems. We've had customers come to us with a problem, and we'll design a solution for them. I don't think most molders design product, but I think we'd like to do that. We like to get involved in it early, and we can provide molds that meet the requirements that aren't either overbuilt or underbuilt to the job that's in hand. So that is our long suit if we have one. It's the ability to produce and design product for our customers.
You mentioned to me early during our tour that you felt it was a huge mistake for manufacturers of the economic industrial policy of our country or to go into the offshoring, and you feel that your company and maybe many other companies can and are competitive with overseas
I think-
manufacturers.
I think that, you know, there's a very small difference in the real cost between that product manufactured overseas and here. The materials are worldwide commodities, they pay the same price over in China as they pay here, as we pay here. The equipment is the same equipment, it's imported from China or imported from Japan, or unfortunately not built in the US much anymore. But I don't know where the advantages are. If the equipment's the same and the material is the same, then you're looking at some overhead costs and you're looking at some labor costs. Typically, the labor cost of a product, don't care what it is somewhere around 15%. And so if that's what you're looking at chasing, you're gonna have some labor content overseas anyway. And a good part of what we have here for labor content can be reduced by automation, and as you saw out there, in the shop floor, we have a lot of robots doing a lot of the routine work, and operators can do just those things that they have to do best. So, you know, that's one way we can keep our labor costs down, and that's been available to us for the last 20 years, and I think people who are surviving today in the molding industry have employed those techniques to reduce the costs. I just never could see that it made sense to go overseas for what we were doing. And not to mention the fact that you've got 6 weeks on the boat of product, that if there's a defect in there, you've got 6 weeks worth of product in your stream that you're either gonna have to shut down and wait for a new product to come in, or you're gonna have to fly product over. And you own that product. It's not something that you can return to them, because you paid for it before it left the shore. I've been hard pressed to really understand it. Did not make economic sense to me.
I think it's, you know, you showed me your inventory, which is obviously an expense to you, but the concept, I guess, the old just-in-time delivery, where your customers can call you up and you can fulfill an order in 24 hours.
In most cases, we can. We try to. We have, particularly with a proprietary product, we try to be able to fill those orders next day, usually. Particularly in the popular sizes. If it's something that's unusual, it may take us a week or two to get product made. If it's a custom molder, then it might take whatever time we have to take to get material in to support the order. But generally, we can turn most any order in 2 to 3 weeks by the time we get the order, the time we can ship. So that's our longest lead for special items.
I'm going to wrap up soon. I was also fascinated with your demonstration where you showed me the 3D printing, which is, I guess, somewhat, is it revolutionizing the industry, or the prototype portion, or how do you see that fitting into your business and the industry?
Well, you know, for us, it's a tool. We can design a product, and we can show a customer a concept the next day. You know, we design it, we can build a product overnight, and we can show him a product the next day, or we can actually use it for our own testing to make sure that our fits are proper. And so it's a great tool for us. I think I'm more intrigued by the potential for building molds directly from a printing process, as opposed to having to spend a lot of time machining molds and throwing away good valuable steel. So I think the future is going to be in printed molds and that sort of thing. And I've been kind of looking for that for years and watching for it. It's available. You can do some of it today. I think conformal cooling is what is referred to. Inserts that are put in molds that have water lines appropriately placed that you couldn't machine a water line into for cooling. So you know, it's here, it's now, but it's going to get much better and much more prevalent as we progress with the technology.
Well, that's great stuff. Appreciate you spending some time with us and tell us about Raleigh Precision Products.
Well, I thank you for your interest, and we appreciate it. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Good stuff.